Hello, fellow YouTubers, and welcome back to Power Up Gamers. I'm pretty pumped and eager for today's video because I have a special guest, my main man, Boker from Absolute Tabletop.
Well, let's clear it up. I'm not the main man. There's only one main man, and that's Andrew Wood. But thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've been excited to join you on one of these, and after a family emergency and then a me being stupid emergency, it's nice to finally get into the panel with you, man. Even though it's not really a panel, but a panel of two.
Exactly. Hey, hey. So, oh, I'm gonna do the beginning a little bit different. Normally, I give my guests a chance to introduce themselves and then plug whatever they want to. Oh, but since most of my viewers are familiar with Absolute Tabletop and its members, is I, I want Booker to kind of do a little behind the scenes on who he is. Because we see him as characters, we see him DM, but a lot of the viewers don't really get the chance to hang out with, him and the other members of Absolute Tabletop. So I kind of want to give that aspect.
Okay, cool, man. So without boring everyone to sleep, my name is Michael Barker, but I go by Barker. I have for a while. I live in New Mexico. My family is from the Pacific Northwest. I run a recording studio in central New Mexico. And so music is kind of my other passion outside of role-playing games. I went to school for it and recently just graduated, but I've been doing it for long before I went to school for it. Behind the scenes, that's about it. You know, I'm married, have 5 furry children, 3 dogs and two hairless cats, ironically not so furry kids. But I really enjoy the community, the RPG community. It was probably 3 or 4 years ago, I was on YouTube searching for videos on how to be a better game master. And so that's what I typed into the YouTube bar. I typed be a better game master, and I had a lot of, or be a better game master D&D, or, you know, whatever word combinations I could think of. And I came across a lot of really great channels. And this story you hear a lot. Almost everybody has the same sort of story. So we search on YouTube, and I find Andrew Wood at Wood WWAD. And specifically, I found his series on world building. It's still, to this day, the best series, I think, on YouTube about RPGs. I think it's 10 episodes, 10 little bits, all very specific facets of building a world. And that's what I'm passionate about with role-playing. And they're wonderful videos. I put them on while I clean. I put them on and watch them. I put them on in the background, in the foreground, whatever. And still, to this day, I'll go back and I'll listen to them.
So you do the same thing I do with the provokers and men of Celine.
Yeah, man, that's exactly it. Because what happens is you search for, how do I do this thing? And then you realize, oh, wait, I already know how to do this thing. And in fact, I have something to say myself. Like, I think I can contribute to the discussion. And that's exactly what happened. I think that's what happens in every kind of facet of life, is we ask ourselves, oh, man, how do I get better at running a game? Well, you get better at running a game by running a game. How do I get better at playing guitar? Well, play guitar and you'll be better. How do I get better at music production. Well, freaking produce some music, and it's going to suck for a while, and then you're going to get better and better. So after a while, we realized the secret, there are a lot of things that cannot be taught. They can only be learned. And there's no better way to learn something than to teach it. It's a weird irony that if you start teaching how to do something, you'll learn how to do it better yourself. So that's the boat I'm in. But that's how the channel was started. I named it Be a Better Game Master on YouTube as kind of an homage to the first thing I typed in the YouTube search bar. I joined the RPG Brigade, then started showing my videos there. People enjoyed them. I started sharing them I joined the one-shot group after Brigade Con, and that was the first Brigade Con. That was a great community. We recently started the Absolute Tabletop RPG community, and I mean it's just snowballed. I think that this hobby and this community, this kind of technology we have, where I can get on the computer and talk with people like you, has allowed me to meet my best friends. The Provokers aren't just a gaming group anymore, man. Like, we hang out.
Exactly.
Yeah, every day we talk. Every day. I just graduated from college in Florida. Tim and James live in Florida, so I hung out with them almost the entire time we were there.
Nice.
This June, next month, we are going up to Washington because we go up there every year. But everyone started kind of going up there around the 4th of July just to hang out and meet with each other. So, so that's kind of behind the scenes of me. I'm a big fan of nerdy stuff. I like Lord of the Rings. You can't see my Hufflepuff crest there, Harry Potter. I love Star Wars, Game of Thrones. I love all this. I love to surround myself with this stuff, man.
Exactly. I do too, although my setup is not as nice as some of your guys's, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, man. Heck yeah.
So, the next thing I kind of want to do is I've heard that a story, a kind of how Absolute Tabletop met and got formed, but not a lot of my viewers know. They just know you guys started playing in Provokers and kind of went from there. I figured I'd give you a chance to kind of relay that story, if you plugged for Absolute Tabletop, and maybe what the next big thing Absolute Tabletop's working on.
So, regarding the next big thing Absolute Tabletop is working on, all I can say is that soon we're going to start showing you guys. It's been a while. We're not on what's a good word for it? Currently, what we're doing, actually, I'll share this. It's definitely not a hiatus. We're still working. It's just a big project we're doing, and I'll tell you, we are turning all of our books into physical books. We have digital. Yeah, we have digital supplements now, but it's a kind of an arduous process to make something able to be printed. It's very exact specifications. It's more difficult than people might think, and it's especially more difficult taking everything we've already made and changing it so it fits those specifications. So we have to go through every book we've ever released and lay it out again so it can be released. So that's what we're doing right now. With regards to the next big book, I can't really tell you that, but pretty soon we're going to start kind of showing you guys what it is, and I'm really excited for it. But
Awesome.
How Absolute Tabletop met, I have to give just a world of credit to Tim Carney, and the reason is, we all started these YouTube channels and just to speak and contribute, and people started watching them, and we started meeting each other, and we slowly realized that we were friends, not just acquaintances. And so we wanted to. It was Tim that approached all of us and said, "You guys want to do something other than YouTube videos? Like, you guys want to make some content, like some supplements or just do something. And all of us kind of let out a resounding yes. I think Matt's was yes, but let me wait till after I get married, so because I won't have any time. So that was kind of what we were up to. And then it just started. We decided that we wanted to make books because we wanted to make what we would use. Because so often you'll think, oh man, I wish there was a supplement for this, or I wish there was a video game that was like this, or I wish there was a movie that was like this. And then that's where the thought ends. And I think for creative people, what you should do is say, okay, well, that doesn't exist. So how do I make it exist? How do I make, there's not a single world building supplement out there that I like, I feel like they all come close, but they all fall short. And that's why I was inspired to make the first book in the Be a Better Campaign Master series, because it was like, I need to make the book that I would use if I were the 17, 16-year-old kid who's having trouble building his world. I need to make the book that I'd go back in time and give to him. And that's kind of, I feel like I speak for everyone when I say that's kind of been the mentality. What would we use? Let's make that. And we just kind of take turns making supplements, and it's fun.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome and amazing how much you guys get together and get things done. And I think a lot of that's the chemistry you guys have with each other.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I definitely appreciate Tim, Matt, James, Nate, Juice, all the that we've come to know and love. One of my big things, and I know you know this because I've mentioned it to you guys before, and I've mentioned it on some of my videos, of how Absolute Tabletop inspires me. But with you in particular, it's the improv that you do, how you can just almost instantly come up with something just based off of what players say, A and do. So I know the biggest trick is to just do it, but is there perhaps some other little tips and advice you could give on that, and how to become better at it?
Yeah, for sure. Improvisation is all about, I don't know. I feel like I'm not good at improvisation. And here's why, is because good improvisation is to be put inside of a situation and then come up with something that can go on inside of that situation. That's not what I do. What I do is I improvise by taking everything that I can think of, that I can imagine, that pops into my brain, and then creating a situation. That's a lot easier. That's like, it's easier to take a circle and turn it into a sun than it is to draw a sun out of nothing. So but regarding what tips I would give or advice about, improvisation is absolutely that. It would be use everything. Don't be afraid to use all of your surroundings. Look around you, and if you see something that, take it and put it in your game. I'm, looking at my my binders. I have binders on this bookshelf here, and I immediately think I'm going to come up in a D&D game. I'm going to put a bookshelf, and there's going to be like some medieval sort of binders there that are kind of holding all of these random papers together, and what's in them, I don't know, but now that's a thing in my world. And so don't be afraid to use everything. Also, I would suggest using the world around you and constantly be thinking about how to use everything. Improvisation is preparation. It's just a different kind of preparation, and it's all about exercise. When you're driving down the street and you see a Blockbuster video that's closed, And actually, there's a better example that I'm basing this off of. I saw a Facebook picture of a Blockbuster video. I don't know if you guys remember those, where we used to rent movies. Yeah. And it was completely overgrown with vines and plants, and it said like the ruins of a lost civilization or something. It was really funny. But in my mind, I thought, and I was like, oh man, that is something that I would put in a post-apocalyptic game, you know? Oh man, the vines are overrunning the, you know, that's what a building looks like when it's out of use. So right there is improvisation, preparation, you know, it's just adding something to the mind. One thing that Tim has recommended to me a lot, which I don't do enough, but it's amazing advice, is, and James, Tim and James, both from Tabletop Terrors, have said this, and the advice is, you cannot continue producing ideas if you don't consume ideas. Yeah. So read books, watch movies, go to plays, go experience the world, because if you stay cooped up in your office, you're not going to have any ideas. You know, there's a reason writers take walks down the street. It's so they can see people, you know, it's so they can see the world. So yeah, experience the world, experience fiction, film, watch live plays. I love live plays to help me get inspired. You know, a lot of them, you know, a lot of times it's hard for me to finish watching a live play, but I always get inspired by them. So consume more inspirational material, and you will create more inspirational material on the fly.
Awesome. So, this is a lot of things I have for you. I know one thing we've talked about doing and never gotten a chance to was having you guest on my disabilities and RPGs. These series is on ADHD, because I know that's something you struggle with. So let's just real briefly kind of talk about the basics of how that affects you when you're gaming and or DMing or even prepping for a session.
So first off, to just form the foundation of it, ADHD is just one of the greatest blessings of my entire life. And I never knew it until I knew I had it, until I found out. And it's one of those things where it's like, once you learn that you have what people are called a disorder, or which has a stigma attached to that word, right? Once you learn you have it, all of a sudden, everything that's happened in your life to this point, every single time you didn't do your homework, every single time you were called lazy, but you weren't, you just forgot and couldn't keep track of the things happening around you, every single time you couldn't finish reading a book because your mind would start wandering into imaginative worlds, all those times now make sense. And then all of a sudden you're like, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't me. It was this thing inside my head. And then the next step is to realize, wait, that is me. And that's all right. And the ADHD, there's been studies and a lot of things show that a lot of great actors and creative people are ADHD. So it absolutely lends itself to running games and playing in games because you just have a natural active imagination. And that's been a huge help for role playing. I don't think I'd do it without it. You know, it's
much the same for a lot of people who are autistic like myself. We have a lot of the same things with creativity. Our minds run faster. So we have trouble slowing ourselves down to the world around us.
Yeah, and we don't have the facilities. You know, I don't want to get into political or sociological discussion, but I'm gonna anyway. In the world, in the world at large, I can speak mainly for America. In the United States, we don't have the facilities to accept people for their different ways of thinking. We have one way of learning, one public way of education, and if you don't fit into that, you could end up homeless, even though you might be the best painter in the world. You might have the ability to come up with an idea on quantum theory that other people can't, but no one will ever know, because you're never given the chance, because you don't think like a normal person. Yeah. And ADHD is easy. Like, I talk about ADHD, you're talking about, people who have disabilities. ADHD is easy to cope with over time. It's definitely got its struggles, but when you compare to other things, like you mentioned, autism, that is this, it's not even comparable. And so one of the things I love seeing these videos of people who are autistic. I mean, the guy who saw the New York skyline for a minute and then drew the entire thing perfectly. And it's like, how the hell is that person not in charge of something? I mean, God, so I think that I'll say that there are hidden gems inside of disabilities or disorders. Exactly. Hidden gems that you don't realize. You don't see the benefits because they're piled underneath a stack of hardships. But once you find those benefits, dude, it is like it's like being reborn.
Awesome. So let's go back a little bit and tell our viewers what got you involved in role-playing in the first place. I know for me, it was how my grandfather would tell us stories, and he would always ask us, what would you do if you was this character, or what would you do in this situation? And that was my basis for even becoming involved in role-playing, D&D. So I'm kind of curious to hear what got you into that originally.
That's really cool that you had a family influence, because and that's really neat. Your the stories being told that were around you when you were a kid. My family is not at all correlated with role-playing games. Gaming in general is not even to the point where it wasn't like, don't play that, that's the devil's magic, something like that. But it was looked down upon as like, well, that's weird or nerdy or different. But my dad is a Marine. My mom is a CPA. Well, not really. She's a tax preparer, but it's very, what's the official type of family, which I love them all very much, not to discount what they're doing. I need help with my taxes. That's the best thing to have a parent be able to do. But I started in middle school. I had a friend named Justin and a friend named Eric, a lot of different friends who played games. And I remember the first character I ever made was a Werewolf the Apocalypse character. And we never played, but I made a character, and I loved the idea. I mean, I always played pretend as a kid. That was my thing. I loved playing pretend, and this was a way to do that in a more structured fashion. This was a way to do that in a game. Like, that's all I wanted, man. I wanted there to be rules, but not so many. But I liked there to be some structure, and so we never played, but. Fast forward some years later, I'm at a comic book store where I used to go to buy my comic books and my G.I. Joes and my Mage Knight figures and stuff. And I saw the D&D 3rd edition Player's Handbook on the shelf. And I didn't really know what role-playing was. I kind of had an idea, but I didn't know what that book was. But I saw it, and immediately I thought, I need to get involved with this. And it just snowballed. I bought that book. I learned that my immediate friend in high school played with his family, and it grew and grew and grew and grew and never stopped.
Yeah, pretty awesome. I can think back to some of the first times I played, and so yeah, some of the sessions were the best compared to others I've sat in. But if it wasn't for those experiences, I wouldn't be here. So I I know. Oh, you guys just recently got the Provokers, is at least this season or this campaign. I'm not entirely sure which because I have to go back and watch the last 45 minutes because I fell asleep.
Hey, man, no one blames you. We were up late, man. We were up late.
You guys were. I almost made it through the whole thing. So, oh.
The epilogues are the best, though, man. Matt had us set up some epilogues, some kind of final thoughts about our characters, you know, and we had kind of been discussing those for a couple weeks, you know, like, you know, because Matt is all about collaboration, which is really cool. And, you know, we don't do a lot of outside of the game planning. You know, Matt's not like, all right, guys, in this game, in this session, you're going to fight this guy and fight this guy. No, it's all surprising to us. But yeah, we don't do that. But he doesn't like to take control of our characters. So he approached me and he was like, all right, man, so where do you see Dice going? And he said, I have a couple ideas if you want to hear them. And we threw some things back and forth. And we came up with this wonderful idea. And at the last minute, I threw it in the trash can, apologized in the chat, and did something completely different. And Matt was totally cool with it. And I think it was just one of my favorite moments in the Provokers. So
awesome.
Yeah, those epilogues are super fun. I recommend checking out that last 45 minutes.
Oh, I'm definitely going to.
Nice.
Oh, it's on my schedule for this next Sunday because that's the day I take off other than posting my weekly schedule, and I get caught up on all the YouTube channels I subscribe to.
Hey, you're a busy dude, man.
Yeah, sometimes. But I'm kind of curious as to your reaction, and as well as the other Provokers' reactions on the season being over, if not the campaign, and then moving on to the next thing.
Yeah, for sure. I think that was another thing Matt brought in the chat. We have a chat going on Facebook constantly, and he said, I have ideas. Do you guys want to play the same characters? Do you guys want to do something different? And to be honest, I didn't want to play Dice again. You know, I wanted to make a new character, for multiple reasons. I love Dice, and I have his character sheet on my wall right here. And, that's, I don't know if you can see this because it might be outside the view, but it's framed on the wall because that's just my favorite character I've ever played. But I wanted to do something a little bit different for multiple reasons, and I think some of the other people felt the same. But we came to the conclusion that we were going to do something else, but it was going to be linked. And so we're still not entirely sure exactly what's going to happen, but I think the overall feeling was melancholy. The idea that, oh man, I'm sad that this is coming to an end because this has been such a fun game. Okay, let's put that out there. It's been a fun game. It's been exciting. Let's put out there a lot of. That's the next thing is a lot of people enjoy watching it, which to me is crazy, but have fun. Do what you got to do. So that's exciting. But also, the Provokers is how we met our best friends. Like, and to me, that's like to me that's the trump card. That is the biggest. That is the most important thing that the Provokers has done for me, and so that's sad. But on the other hand, it's not like the guys are going away. So I'm excited for whatever we're going to do next. I'm excited to do something different. Let's try everything out. So, I think that. In that way, it's melancholy. It's like a bittersweet, but I don't, that thing's in its frame. I'll say this now. I don't think it's going to be framed forever. I think there's going to be a day where I pull that puppy out again.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure we haven't seen the end of Dice. I know a lot of the viewers just from watching Facebook and some of the comments are also feeling that melancholy too, because we really enjoy watching it. It inspires a lot of us, and I think part of it, the reason why everyone enjoys it, is the chemistry you guys have, and when we watch it, we feel like we're sitting right there with you guys hanging out.
Yeah, I think the best part of the game for me, and I think a lot of people might agree, is that the players, me, Tim, Nate, Juice, we do a lot of talking to each other and not talking to the DM. Matt, we do occasionally talk to Matt, but we do a lot of role playing with each other, and Matt's just kind of there, to officiate and to tell us when the story evolves. But I think that's the way it should be. A lot of people kind of look to the DM to say, okay, make the game happen. And it's like, no, bro, like, you make the game happen. This is your game. I'll let you know when the game changes. Like, that's what the DM's job is. He's the arbiter.
Exactly.
And so I think that is one of the best parts of the game. And I think a lot of people agree is that, when you say chemistry, you're absolutely right, man. I found my gaming group, I just found my gaming group online. And boy, am I lucky to have done that.
And I've been lucky. I've been part of several great groups. I have good players that are some of my best friends. But getting all of us together and doing our thing can be a struggle. So here's the question I was going to ask your wife, and you can kind of give her answer, because I'm sure you probably know the answer.
I hope so.
I'm always curious how people like us who are really involved and busy in the community, producing PDFs, YouTube videos, how their loved ones kind of deal with the scheduling and having that kind of lack of time.
So first off, that's a really good question, and I know exactly. I feel like I know how she'd answer it, but and I'll try. First off, the biggest difficulty is that we all have jobs and we all do stuff. And actually, just until very recently, I was in school full time. So the only time we could get together to work on Absolute Tabletop, for example, is in the evenings, because that's when everybody's available. That's when everyone's off work. And so that's why, it's like, oh my gosh, that's where the loved ones would suffer if they would. So first of all, it's all about balance. Being able to be like, nope, guys, I can't get on. I gotta, watch a movie with Heather, that's my wife, or gotta, make dinner, or I'm gonna hang out. We're gonna play some Cards Against Humanity or something like that. But I think I'm very, very lucky to be married to the woman I'm married to. And I think that I sort of speak for everyone, that it's nice that Heather's the type of person that she wants to watch her show. Like, she wants to hang. She just got done being at work. She doesn't want to be like, all right, let's do something. No, she's like, no. Sometimes she'll ask me what I'm doing in the evening, and I'm like, oh, I'm working on Absolute Tabletop, or oh, I'm going to go to an X-Wing tournament in the evening in town, or I'm going to, do something do something, that I've been planning. And she'll be like, oh, good, awesome, because I wanted to hang out with my sister, or I wanted to watch my own TV show. So I'm very fortunate to have kind of a nice, how do I put it? It's like Pluto and Charon, the road revolving around each other. It's not one revolving around the other. So I think that to me is why this works so well, and why I don't get yelled at more often. don't get me wrong, I get yelled at, and there are times where I'm like, oh yeah, all right guys, I gotta go, or I can't do this, I gotta, I'm letting my duties slip. So
Yeah, you're definitely luckier on that than I am. I constantly get it from a family because they kind of expect me to function, that I can drop anything I'm doing because it's not important, and I'm just hanging out.
yeah, for sure.
And on spur of the moment, just up and go and do something with the family. They go out of town for the weekend. And I've always been the kind of person that I need to schedule things like a week in advance.
Yeah, for sure. I felt that recently because I for a long time I didn't have any room to schedule games or panels or anything because I was in school. And not only was I in school, this was the last 2 months of school. So it was like absolute crunch time before the bachelor's degree. And so I was scheduling games ahead of time. Like I was scheduling games in the distance, like, okay, we'll put one in late May, put one in June. And then I lost track of them. And actually that I've really felt that because Lloyd Collins, the Jarl DM, he was planning on running the character creation of a Fate of the Norns game, which is a really cool Viking game.
Yeah. It looks really awesome.
Oh, it is the most beautiful book I've ever had. Let me just put that out there. But he was planning on it, and it was scheduled. It was on the schedule for months, and I just completely forgot about it. So I couldn't do it because I had another commitment that I had overlapped with it. So lately, I've been feeling that, all right, planning things out ahead of time, really make sure I put things on the calendar. And that's the ADHD part of me. Like I need these structures to guide me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I hate the structures that are guiding me because they're too structured. It's the irony of the ADHD life.
I know exactly what you mean. And that's why I try to keep it only for the upcoming week. Like sometimes I'll plan a little further ahead, but usually a week is plenty of time. I sit down, plan everything out Sunday evenings, and post my schedule. And I do big blocks of time. Like after we get done, I have 6 or 7 hours that I have blocked off for networking and transcription. And that may not be all I do. I may take a nap. I may spend an hour or two with the family, something like that. But that's what I plan to do.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. It's good to have the plan there. I have a question for you, Jaron.
Sure.
So, as a content creator, as a YouTuber,
Okay. Even though I'm new at it.
Yeah, well, technically I am too, man. I've only been doing this for a few years. But my question for you is, what can we do, myself, Matt, everybody in the community who makes videos, who makes supplements, what can we do to improve accessibility for people who have disabilities, who want to participate but find that they can't, maybe because they can't see, or people have a hard time understanding them, or they maybe deafness, things like that. What can we do to help people, to help include people and bring them into the fold instead of just, accidentally marginalizing them because we didn't plan ahead?
Yeah. Very good question, and that's something I'm dealing with a lot on my channel, because being disabled, I can speak a lot from personal experience.
Exactly.
It really depends um, if it's a live situation, or if it's over YouTube, or over Facebook, online, etc. For YouTube, one of the big things, and I don't see probably any channels doing it, is transcribing the videos of like I'm doing, and to have it as closed captions. It is a lot of work, but that brings in pretty much everyone who's there, those who are hard of hearing, such as myself, which
Yeah, for
people
sure.
don't even know. Oh, I have mild hearing loss. But it's funny because I have super good hearing in one ear and then like 40% hearing in the other one. So it kind of balances out in my case. And I also kind of regret Ibsen. That's another thing you can do when you're doing a video. It's nice to screen share and see what people are doing, but do it like in between sentences, so that when you're speaking, they can actually see your mouth moving for those who read the So that kind of covers deafness. Muteness, there's really not a lot you can do on YouTube other than having the live chat going and talking with them via the chat. Blindness, there's pretty much nothing you can do as far as YouTube rather than keep doing your videos and allow them to enjoy the audio.
Yeah, for sure. Include really put focus into audio. You know, that's one thing that means a lot to me is audio, because I do more than just music production. I do, you know, podcasting production, and I do voiceovers for film, or have done. And it's, you know, the audio is arguably the most important part of a video. And so that was one of the things I wanted to bring up, though, regarding the closed captions. That so important. And you're right, it is hard work, because I don't know if you've looked at the closed captions that YouTube offers. They are horrific. They're the worst.
They come nowhere close.
It's more of a comedy act than anything. What I recommend, look at Matt Click on A Fistful of Dice has a video called Lore of Aeronoth Kazrin Part 1 of 2. Turn on the closed captions and watch that and just have yourself a laugh. It is the funniest thing I've watched in a long time.
And it gets even worse for those YouTube creators like myself with speech impediments.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
It is totally hilarious, some of the things they come up with.
I can't even imagine. Matt is speaking clearly and concisely in his video, and it still is like, nope, I don't even care. It's not my job.
That's one of the reasons for me transcribing. I don't even use the automatic stuff. I just go listen to the video and type it out in a Google Doc, then I download the doc as a text file and upload it, and which uploading is really easy on YouTube. Now, some of the other things we can do for a live group is location. And if you get on a game, I usually don't recommend gaming shops because for one, they're usually crowded, loud, if they do have an actual gaming area, it's usually pretty small, not very accessible because it's usually in back of the shop. The seats aren't very comfortable for extended visits, things like that. So, so for location, I usually suggest someone's house, preferably somewhere that doesn't have steps for those who are in wheelchairs or have trouble walking, and having a spot where they can pull up a wheelchair, sit on the couch.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Things like that.
Our local gaming store, it's neat. They're big on Magic the Gathering. They're big on X-Wing miniatures and other miniature games. And so when they get packed, they get packed. And there are people all carrying a bunch of stuff. But one thing that they have that I took for granted until now is that they have an area in the back it's not walled off, but it's definitely separated, like a room within a room.
Yeah.
And it's got 2 or 3 tables and a bunch of chairs and a bunch of space for role-playing games. And so, because, when you're playing a role-playing game, you don't want a bunch of X-Wing miniature guys coming up and looking at what you're doing. You want to have that private kind of area.
Yeah.
And I think that helps a lot. So definitely, if your gaming store has that, maybe try that out if you can't go to someone's house.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the closest gaming store to where I live is almost an hour's drive.
Yeah, yeah.
So mine is my gaming store.
Yeah, for sure. Dude, I've gamed everywhere too, man. I've gamed at a kitchen table. I've gamed in the garage. I've gamed in my recording studio. I've gamed on couches in a living room. I've gamed on the floor. Sorry, I should have put my phone on silent beforehand. I've gamed over the phone. I've gamed online. It's just, there are a lot of options.
Hey, so that's one of the things as far as live you can do is kind of have space available, make sure people can get to it easily. As far as kind of playing and having them people with special needs in your group, be patient with them. Is really the biggest thing, and listen into the even though like sometimes, and you'll see this in my video, if you watch it, I'll repeat words or I'll stutter a little bit at the end. And
looks like you got cut out, man. I do believe we're still live, though. So if you're watching now, I'm going to get a hold of Jaron. Hey, you there, Jaron?
Be accessible, get to know the people, get to know what the needs are.
Hey, Jaron, hold on one second. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, you cut out a little bit in the middle of that last thought. Your video went down, and so can you repeat?
Actually, you cut out.
Oh, was it me? Oh no, I hope it wasn't.
Yeah.
Well, then if everyone heard it on the YouTube feed, then it seems like it's all right. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did, but just for you, I would say it kind of be or listen to the people, find out what their needs are, and I'll tell you this as much. One of the best players I've ever had just blows my mind. It would be like having all the provokers rolled up into one person.
Oh, nice. I'm just going to throw this out there. That person would be very handsome. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. The funny thing is, he had this handicap. I don't know what it's called, but he was like a 12-year-old at the time I knew him, but he wasn't a 2-year-old's father.
Oh man.
And he was just one of the most awesome people I knew who just role played brilliantly. And, 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 I, and for me, myself, I used to go around, I'd push him on the merry-go-round at school, all because no one would play with him because he was so small. They were afraid of hurting him. But it's just amazing if you really give these people the opportunity to shine, the stuff they come up with.
Oh yeah, and I think, if I were to give someone advice, I'd be like, just, be patient, because you're going to realize the hidden gem, that we were talking about earlier. At first glance, when someone approaches someone in conversation with a speech impediment, it's very ironic that the person without the speech impediment might start feeling uncomfortable, like, oh wait, do I wait? Do I, how do I converse? And it's like, dude, just chill for a minute and let this person show you how great of a role player they are, or how great of a DM they are. And I think, that's the ticket, is realizing that, a lot of times, like I said before, a speech impediment is superficial. That is surface. That says nothing about someone's mind,
Exactly.
And so, so wait until you can see what's in the mind, and you're gonna be surprised, and in a very good way.
And it shocks me how much society themselves kind of think that people who are disabled or who have special needs are stupid and just not as good as the rest of normal society. And
Yep.
I look around and I see all these inspirational stories of people who are disabled doing wondrous things, and it's like, okay, what is normal society doing?
Yeah, that stupid Stephen Hawking. I mean, give me a break. I have a friend who has multiple sclerosis, and people treat him like, oh, do you want? Yeah, and he, people treat him like, he's stupid, and I love his responses are hilarious. Like, he'll just look at someone and be like, I'm not an idiot. Like, he'll tell it to their face, and it's wonderful. I love.
I know exactly what you mean. My biological father has multiple sclerosis.
Yeah. And it's, like I said, it's all superficial. It's all surface stuff,
And one of my favorite sayings, and I kind of live by it, is we're no different than anyone else. If you really think about it, everyone's disabled. Or there's no set standard for being normal because everyone's different.
Yeah, and if anything, the differences are different way of thinking, which, for the love of Pete, like, that's what we need now. Like, are you kidding me? So, yeah.
Okay, well, we've had a pretty good chat, and I love hanging out with you. And the guys
Likewise.
on that we never get enough time to do so.
Yep.
So is there anything else you want to talk about, or other things you want to ask?
Well, yeah, there's one thing I wanted to say, is that, when the one-shot group was created, it filled a hole that needed to be filled. It was like, you know what, we need a place for people to go to play online games. And because people had started really doing that, and then all of a sudden the one-shot group is where people went to do that. And it filled a hole, and it's still growing, and it's awesome. What you're doing with Power Up Gamers is the exact same thing. It's filling a hole in the community, in role playing in general, that needs to be filled. And I just wanted to commend you on that, because it's one of those things that a lot of people don't realize we need. Jay, I think his YouTube name is JDR30, and what he did is he started doing RPG videos in French, and that filled a hole. Like, I live in Quebec, or I live in France, and I want to watch these, but I don't, I hate the subtitles, I hate the translators. And he's like, all right, I'll make some videos in French. You're making videos that show people that, number one, if you have some sort of disability, like, that doesn't mean a thing. Come in and play a game. And number two, the people who don't, have like very significant disabilities, like myself or like Matt, we can now make our channels better when it comes to accessibility and stuff like that. So I just wanted to thank you for doing that and commend you on the work that you've put into this. And I know that there are a lot of people putting work into it, but you are absolutely the face of it. So keep on keeping on, man. It's awesome.
Well, that makes me feel good, because back when I started, I wish there was places and groups where I could go. Yeah, I had my live group, but it took me a long time to find one that I really liked. Right?
Yeah.
And we had 5 DMs and 30 players.
Gosh.
Yeah, it was a 24/7 D&D group. Oh, if a DM got tired or had to go to work, we took a 10-minute break for him to fill in the next DM, and they kept going, which was an awesome experience. But it kind of took away that small group feeling. They did that, and the closeness and bonds that the players made, because you had so many.
Yeah. But ultimately, thanks for all the work that you're doing, man. And I've really I've appreciated this panel too, and I'd like to do another one in the future with a whole group of people.
Oh, definitely. I'm always looking forward to having you guys come in for a session, or whether we're playing, making a video, just hanging out, whatever.
For sure, man.
Like you guys know, you have basically standing invitations. You just tell me a day and time, and
yep, and we'll be sure to plan it a week in advance, though, so we don't screw up and get yelled at by other people.
Yeah, it's usually not a biggie deal, because as I have pretty much all day and all night free, it's just like 10 o'clock Central Time at night. That's my time for dinner. Go spend an hour or maybe 2 hours with the family.
Yeah, for sure.
But outside of that, anything I do can be pretty much adjusted. And so, one thing I do want to mention, since we're talking about accessibility, and you had asked how Absolute Tabletop could improve on. I do want to mention they do have some upcoming captions. It's for the different channels with hard at work on that. It's just a matter of time.
Oh, dude, I can't. Oh my God, that's gonna take forever. But you're just powering through it. Yeah, Jaron, in creating the closed captions for our videos, it's like, dude, that's awesome, and that's exactly what we need to do.
Yeah, and there's little tricks to that too. if you're getting a group of people involved, make a Google document, make it editable, and have each person do 10 minutes at a time. And you can take turns doing it. In my case, as I've even put on my YouTube channels, I put a little notice I need help transcribing it. I've had viewers transcribe entire videos. And then they send me the text files. I spend 5-10 minutes reviewing it, making sure it's accurate and pretty close to what's being said, and then upload it, and that video's done.
And you know what? You're probably, if we ever have any questions about the provokers and the plot, we'll just ask you, because sometimes we forget stuff that happened, but you're going to know it better than anybody.
But yeah, by the time I'm done, I'll probably will. And it's not just provokers. I'm doing it for all the videos. It's just I'm starting with the provokers and then doing Winds of Sicily. Then I'll do something on the channel. Then something for Tabletop Tippers, and just kind of rotate them until we get stuff caught up.
Yeah, man.
But that's kind of a way for me, as a DM, as a player, to thank you guys for all the games, the videos, hanging out, the PDFs. Because let's be honest, you guys don't make nothing hardly off of what you do. For the amount of time you guys put into it. So, giving something extra like that, not only does it save you guys more work and free you up to do more stuff, it's a way I can say thank you.
Dude, thank you, man. That's awesome. Thank you. And also it helps us, bring more people in. I think that's the most important thing, is that, the thing that Matt said in the chat at the end of the last Provoker session, he said, thanks everyone for watching. Go play RPGs. That's what we want. More people in the community. I want to see more people making videos. I want to see more people running games, and just because if the community grows, so do we. And that's an exciting. It's an exciting time.
And I'm still bound and determined to show up on Winds of Sicily or Provoker Season 2.
Yeah, man, dude, it ain't out of the question. I don't even know where Winds of Sicily is going yet, but that should be fun. We're planning our next session for June, so I'm really excited for that next month. So, but thank you so much for having me on, man. This has been an awesome discussion. And,
it's been a blast. But I know you're pretty busy, so.
I gotta rotate the laundry and get back to my work. So.
Exactly, and I got some transcribing to do, and I still have like 10 emails to answer for the day. And
oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's a pretty tight schedule. It takes me almost 2 hours just to answer emails in the morning and catch up on all the posts and messages over Facebook. So, okay, well, it's been an awesome. Everyone knows who I am. The channel's Power Up Gamers. We have private Facebook group, same name. Just give us a shout out anytime. And Booker, if you want to do an outro, feel free.
Just thank you all for watching, and subscribe to this channel that you're watching right now. It's doing a lot of great things for a lot of great people, and it's growing the community, it's growing the hobby, and the more the hobby grows, the more awesome content we're going to get from not only big companies like Wizards of the Coast or Paizo or Fantasy Flight Games, but also smaller companies like Critical Hit Publishing, Absolute Tabletop, things like that, and more small companies will start growing out of it. So keep supporting the hobby, because by supporting the hobby, you're supporting people who want to make YouTube videos, and it's all, that's what it's all about. The more we get excited about this stuff, the more we grow it, the more we'll have to play with when in terms of toys. So yeah, keep it up.
Awesome. Well, with the affiliate and said, thanks for coming, Booker. I enjoyed it tremendously, and I'm sure my viewers will also. And as always, may the dice roll in your favor.